Alright, I did video recorded here the stuff about federal workers fired from work, from job, and I suggested there would be about 5% of the federal workforce cut out. Okay, the year was exactly 2009, 2010 when this was in climax. I failed to mention many other issues here under this video. I got really pissed off with the SIA, but this video, it concerns the federal workers. I've seen videos online where media, so-called journalists, if you like to call them journalists, discuss 1% of the mainstream media journalists. They discuss 1% of the workforce that would be cut. This is so untrue. Let me give you real figures. It will affect U.S. Postal Services, federal workers everywhere, absolutely everywhere. Not only CIA, not only FBI, and so on. Not only federal workers, and it will range. It will range depending on department between 5 to 8%. These are exactly the figures. I have spoken to people from people who make decisions, people, the federal workers that are in charge for quota, really, of the people that are employed within the workforce, within the federal workforce. One percent is to misguide you people in what reality is. They gave Donald Trump goal to fire. The federal government goal was to fire on average about between 5 to 8%. Let's say 5%. That's the way it was. Donald Trump, however, was extremely ambitious, and he pushed the number toward 10%. So it's not going to be exceeding 10%. I did mention in that video 20%. No, they were misguiding me. They were misleading me. MK Ultra is not one session. This doesn't pertain to a single session. That kind of stuff, it pertains to, I can't believe I did not even pasted this stuff here anywhere. It pertains to many different, all kinds of sessions, including those sessions that are used to mislead me, basically, give me a false figures, false impression, and so on. That's what mostly this thing was based upon. It was not based like I would be given just statistics from the plate and stuff like that. They had ways to, next to electroshocks, they had ways to lie about whatever they had to tell about. Because this is what it is. This is what MK Ultra is. They record themselves next to somebody claiming that, he was the one who knew everything about this and that and so on, but they don't tell that other part of the story. And so this is the official quotas. This is what you're going to be facing off with. First, what's going to happen is you're going to have buyout offers from Donald Trump, just as is written here. President Trump, federal workforce, buyout offers. That represents about 1%. The more 2 million federal employees below the White House goal for 15 to 10% buyouts. Shit, they did mention this stuff. They said here 5 to 10% buyouts. Now, there ain't gonna be probably buyouts 5 to 10%. I don't even understand what they say. Below the White House goal 1% of the more than 2 million employees, below the White House goal for 5 to 10% to accept buyouts. No, the 5 to 10% is not going to be buyouts. It's going to be fired a lot of people here. There will be a lot of people that will be fired. I don't know anything about 5 to 10% buyouts. Donald Trump threatened that first there will be buyouts, and the buyouts, well, wait a minute, he did say he will go up to 5%. The rest is going to be fired. This is the White House goal. The White House goal is up to 5%. They ain't going to give more than that. Now, what exactly is this linked to when it comes to Donald Trump? What's happening here? I stated they started to negotiate this absolutely with the federal government employees that are in charge of the entire workforce per department in 2009. For this, we have to go here. I need to see this stuff here to understand what truly went on. This will tell you exactly what goes on. This here, these are the numbers. This here is going to explain everything about what actually I was witnessing to. Total government employment, federal, state, local. And then we have here, this is nothing really. I thought that this would be representing years. And this is just not. This is not giving the figures. Let's try this out. Okay, this is federal employees. This is probably the fewest people since. But let's see what's happening here. We're gonna know immediately what's going on here with this stuff here. I had all the Wall Street Journal journalists here, all the editors, the main people, Washington Times, everything, absolutely, New York Times, you name it. Let's see this stuff here, 2014. It's just us until 2014, is it? 2014 said. Okay, so that means that Donald Trump is really not the one to blame for, because if they started to fire, look at that, 2008, remember when I told you? They started to go after the federal employees in 2008, 2009, whatever. I see 2014, the graph is going down, but no, I gotta see this. Is this maybe another graph here that it can be used? Probably it is, but I'm not paying for this. So to understand basically what exactly that I witnessed to, I need to see. I need to see what historically this stuff is. Here is something else to it. I don't want to see this for 2014. Anytime past year, we're gonna see this stuff here. Federal employment pictures. This could be interesting. Let's see. They talk about 1990, etc., etc. Let's see this stuff here. So this will explain to me what exactly I was looking at. Was I actually looking at some kind of a balloon payment? It's what they call balloon payment in real estate. Yeah, it was actually a balloon payment in real estate terms. You know what the balloon payment is? Balloon payment is when you pay, and then it's a balloon. and then you have to make a big payout or you lose everything. And here's the deal, 2010, this is what we witnessed to, and it was falling down. What appears under Obama steep, it did go steep down to 2014 to 2.73 million. And believe it or not, as insane as it might sound, it was exactly Donald Trump, interesting, who started to increase again the workforce, federal workforce. Look at that. It came all the way to 3 million. This was 2020, there were 3 million. And under Joe Biden, the same thing went on. I don't think right now the present it's about 3 million. I don't think necessarily that's a bad thing. I'm not against this stuff. That's not what I'm against. I don't like the idea about Bezos, about Elon Musk. I don't like about the private postal services replacing federal services. I don't like about Donald Trump University replacing real universities. I don't like the prison wards to be ran by the private corporations. And I don't like police to be ran by the private corporations. The whole thing, based on what I would say, based on what I see, and when it comes to CIA, they talk a lot about the FBI and CIA. It's going to be the least of the people that are going to be fired. The least is going to be in CIA. The least is going to be in FBI. I remember all this stuff. I remember it's going to be postal workers. They're going to be paying a tremendous price for it, and it's going to be other federal employees. They're going to be paying for it. They did talk something about artificial intelligence, and it talked about, the stuff I mentioned to you. Frankly, I don't like idea about this. I think anything that is not federal voids a warranty away from the nation. If you do have a private sector, one must only be a competition to the federal and nothing more than that. Federal is guarantee, it means government. United States of America is ran by the federal government. And I think this is just, in my opinion, this is a big mistake. If you had to increase the overload, I should say load of work, that's fine, I would say. But going out there and killing the jobs, basically, just so that you can promote corruption, crime, I think it's wrong. And that's exactly what I believe the case is going to be. I believe this is not about efficiency. There are certain things that are irreplaceable, like I said. Federal worker is, when everything else goes to hell, the federal government should still hold whatever. It should still work at one place, and that's federal government. This is the one that never should go out of the business. And I think it's very bad. I think it's going to have a tremendous impact on society. It's very bad. I was told it's going to go to the Clinton era. Bill Clinton. So that we are talking about pre-Clinton, Clinton. 2000, Clinton was very bad, I see here, for what all of a sudden the fashion is now. There was more federal employees. Pre-Clinton, this is not. Clinton wouldn't do. 1990, 2000. Clinton would not do shit about this stuff. Clinton was strong. I don't know, strong. I mean, this was a trend that was taking off, and Clinton was really not. Clinton fired a lot of people from government, from federal workforce. I mean, it's a significant decrease of workers from 91 to 2000, from 3.1. He reduced them for about 300 plus thousand. But yeah, this is what this is going to be about. If it helps, I don't know. If it helps, I don't know. Some departments are going to be more, some other departments are going to be less. The least is going to be Central Intelligence Agency and FBI. This is what's going to be the least. So, I don't know. I don't even know if I put this video online. That represents about 1% of the more than 2 million federal employees, below White House goal for 5 to 10%. Below the White House goal, 5 to 10% to accept buyouts. Shit, I am disappointed that I was not capable to provide the number for you, because the article here already provided a 5 to 10% number. The only thing I can say is Trump is not going to give more than 5% of the buyouts. The rest is going to be fire. He dreamed about firing people. His goal is to put out of the workforce about 10% of the people. So out of 3 million, that's going to be about 300,000. The least, as I stated, is going to be in CIA and FBI. Postal offices and probably teachers and stuff like this. Corruption, criminality, basically. 2 million federal employees. You got 2 million, really? I thought it was more than that. It says here 3 million. Okay. All right. So what year is this? 2024. Hardly would I believe that 2 million are going to be affected out of 2 million. Yeah. So that's what this is. 2009, 2008. This stuff started to really, they started to put the nose in it in 2005 and 2006. The peak of this stuff was in 2009 and 2010. This is when they had all the numbers already calculated, everything, how many they're going to fire and so on. I don't think that firing federal employees is a good idea. I think this is a catastrophe. I think this is a disaster. I think that this is actually financial disaster for the people of the United States of America. Personally, this is what I think. With artificial intelligence, there will be a lot of workers out of work, meaning that's not going to affect only federal sector, but foremost private sector. Right? So if it's going to be a lot of people out of work, as well as mine get something out of them, and truly, nobody can replicate federal employees. Nobody can replicate federal police, federal employees. Nobody can replicate them because they have badges, because they have, credentials. There is nobody that can replicate federal employees. I don't know about them stinking at home, doing nothing, scratching their ass. Together with you, watch how the whole thing goes down to hell. This is not a solution, in my opinion. Federal government is always, whatever branch of the federal government, whichever way the country is run, it's nothing wrong with the private sector. The private sector is the best thing about the capitalist society. It's run efficient, with people more dependable, but not always. Well, I should just say it's more cost effective. I don't think the people are more dependable. because the federal employees are extremely dependable people because they get well paid, good benefits, and that kind of stuff. Sometimes they don't even get well paid, but the ladies that work there, they work like they really work. It's a pleasure to see them. And so this is definitely not a good move. There'll be a lot of people at the workforce searching for the work compensation, rather than, enough said about that stuff. Federal government, that's always the one to depend on when everything else goes to hell. It's always the federal government you go to. When everything else fails, that's where you go to. Now, that's just not, I don't see point in this. I don't see this as a positive stuff. I don't see anything positive in this. But this is just my opinion. United States of America is extremely federal country. This is extremely a federal country because you have states, and federal is basically is the main engine. It's not a state job. This is a federal, and this is bad news all around. The way I see it, this is a bad news all around. There's nothing good about this news. This Donald Trump stunt drained the swamp and that kind of stuff. All this stuff. This is just getting. It's getting ugly. It's not good. I agree that there shouldn't be more people employed. If you look this graph here, the truth is that they say here that the federal employment peaked in May 1990 at 3.4 million. Probably that's true. But the truth is, the fact of the matter is that at 3 million employees, you have to understand that in 1990, who knows? I don't know, but in 1990 it might have been just 270 million people in the United States of America. Now it's like 330 plus. Some figures are suggesting 350 million people. So now if you take the numbers and you take all these numbers and you account the ratio of population, the number of people in the country, and the service workers in the federal government, it's steeply probably less than, it's not a lot of federal government employees at all. It's not. Population, it's 334 million. Some figures are saying 350. Look at these numbers here. So talking about the stuff like this, talking about how the population, this and that, and the number of federal employees, it doesn't make any fucking sense. This makes sense for the private companies. That means the people who already have money are going to be people that are going to make more money. They're going to steal those contracts. They're going to make the contracts out of the federal contracts. It's going to be a rip-off. Society is going to get fucked all around. Nothing good is about this stuff to happen. Nothing good is coming. Nothing good. Absolutely nothing good. So the graph suggesting the increase of population in the United States of America from 1990 to now, it's steep. It's very high. It's extremely high. Even if you keep that at the same number, the population, the number of people in the United States of America increased enormously. Check this out. 346 million. All right. 347 million. You gotta do this here. Now 90, 250 million. You know what I mean? So you're talking about roughly 100 million people more in the country. So if you want to look, if you want to honestly look this stuff here that I demonstrated you, the number of employees decrease already. Federal employees decrease enormously. And under Donald Trump, they're going to continue to increase that. They're going to do the buyouts and stuff like this. So you're going to have explosion of corruption, explosion of crime. You're going to have explosion of these private corporations taking on a federal government, which I personally think is disgusting and disgraceful. I do. I think it's wrong. And I hope I'll be capable to enter the private sector. And so when you look at these numbers here, I'm not happy about it, because I know that from grammar school to high school to universities, federal must exist. The government must provide for colleges, for high school, for grammar school, so that you have blueprint for something based on which, you know, if it's private, it is so much better that you can, you know, align to that, compare, exceed, if you will. It's a ripoff. It's a ripoff. You know, it's a ripoff because it's a ripoff, basically. You're not going to save, country's not going to save absolutely any money, but there will be crime. Crime will be flourishing. He targets literally jobs from the federal government that I personally would not target. I would increase maybe private sector or whatever the fuck I would do. But I would not go after the federal government. I would not go after the core of the society. This is a total fuck up in my opinion. Who those people were that Donald Trump found and George Bush, I don't know. But now when I see what this is all about, I don't like any of you. They were giving me figures, statistics, and were convincing me. I had impression like there is enormously a lot of more people that should have been in the federal government. When I see these figures now, when I see this, I understand that everything was a crap. The whole thing was a crap. And interesting, under Obama, things did not improve. He held that steady. Actually, he had the numbers falling down, and the numbers did not even improve much. What Donald Trump took when? In 2016, and practically the numbers started to go up again. So, I don't know. You decide, people. Donald Trump wanted to get 10% of the people on the street, basically, out. And that's exactly what it is. How much buyout and this and that? That was not depending on the, that did not depend on Donald Trump. But Donald Trump personally told me that it will depend on how much they will give. That means how much federal government is going to buy out federal government. That's how this is. That's how that stuff goes. He wanted to get rid of at least 10% of people. They suggested him 5%, and when they suggested him 5%, he doubled to 10%. Viciously, he doubled. If you say 5, he says 10. He wanted to be needed and wanted to indicate that he's ready to do absolutely anything and double whatever that he is inquired to do by the government people, by the deep state people. Whatever they dared him, he doubled. That's his deal. That's his art. By you taxpayers, you get fucked. You pay for it. that much about this issue here. I am gonna put this on the internet so you can get an idea about this stuff. This stuff here, when the White House, the buyout, that he stated 10% of the buyout, it actually makes me wonder, and it actually even makes me think that it could be double even of the 10%. Who knows, who the hell? They did mention the number 20%. It could maybe go to get rid of 20% of the workforce, federal workforce. Who the hell knows with this guy? Most likely from 5 to 8% is what they talked about. But Trump's personal goal was 10%. But the numbers of 20% were also mentioned. More likely up to 10%, but who knows? But for every department different. The least people employed, throw out, buy out, or whatever you say, in Central Intelligence Agency and in FBI. In FBI, the least. More they're going to get rid of in CIA than in FBI. This I also have to tell you. There will be more people fired in CIA than in the FBI. Donald Trump deemed that in the CIA that there is too many people. I think this guy is very dangerous. I think this guy is extremely dangerous. That's what the fuck I think. He had all kinds of people claiming what they feel, what they saw, and so on. They supported his views, but I have my views, and they were creating like impression, like you go to a timeshare, purchase yourself a vacation, real estate, a scam basically. They were making atmosphere, such an atmosphere, like, he stated something and it was, everything was done on a scam basically, to convince that this is necessary, that there is too many. Say you see what's going on with the US aids and stuff like this, that they're going to get rid of people. The list is going to be FBI. FBI, I was told, is going to be very few. The CIA is going to take much bigger hit. And that is still nothing when compared to other branches of the federal government.